Next question, Senator. On implementation of your first big idea on the gender pay gap, not everyone works for a corporation.
Yes.
And a big.
Hey.
No.
I'm just need to.
Oh, hi.
Constituents were just outside this building protesting a few minutes ago, asking for your attention to a much bigger idea than.
Thank you so much, sir, for your big idea. But we want to make sure that we are able to get through this.
Look how the dark-skinned woman jumped to defend her light-skinned biracial female ally, or whatever. That show's hilarious. I'm waiting for those videos to come up where there's going to be discussions about her lack of femininity and whatnot, and the fact that black men didn't do anything, even though the whole situation didn't last longer than 50 seconds, and two brothers took the dude off stage. But we'll wait for those videos later. Somebody said, we got to protect our women and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's a Haitian a chick and a Jamaican Indian. Like, they neither one of them are ADOS. What you talking about, our women? But the dude who said it was Haitian, so I guess that's what he meant. But anyways, in this move on, big ideas, liberal, fuckity fuck shit, there was a conversation that was had about a lot of things that I don't agree with anything that was said on this panel. But one thing that your girl Kamala Harris wants to get rid of, I didn't even know this was an actual legal term. This is an actual legal defense. I didn't know that shit. I know it was just natural, right? It's crazy how much natural laws and common laws coincide. I knew it was a natural reaction that most heterosexual men in general, regardless of race, would have, but apparently this is a law on the books or defense. The gay shock defense, right? We're gonna talk about that for a minute, because your girl Kamala Harris wants to train prosecutors and get rid of the ability for you to just snap on a motherfucker who lied about saying he was a she when he really was a he. Google, what is the gay panic defense?
According to Wikipedia, the gay panic defense is a legal defense that is sometimes employed, usually against charges of assault or murder.
I can move if you want.
I ain't ask you to move, nigga. I'm trying to talk to my girl. You acting all weird and shit.
Yo, girl.
Yeah, man. Yo, this is my ex Lisa, man. We used to talk back after my mom's kicked me out the house, you know.
My nigga, that's a man.
What? Nah, man. This is my ex.
Your ex-girlfriend a man. Why you think she in jail with the men? She'd be on the other side. Nigga, you gay.
Nah, I mean, she... So you think I'm gay?
Nah, no, I
This
don't...
nigga gay as.
As I stated, I didn't know this was an actual thing. It's a defense that people use. Here's my problem with this, right? And I wanted to go into depth on this topic a while now. A couple things came up that I didn't address it. The Grapevine did their video about the topic, obviously, and I don't want to keep doing responses to their shit. Although the reality is they are the antithesis of all types of fuckity fuck black liberal shit that goes on. They are who you go to for it. That's like the cream of the crop. And they're not mainstream yet. They will be eventually, but that's just what it is. But they had discussions about it. They were mad at Chipamanda because she said that trans dudes aren't women. And she was unapologetic about that. And although she's their favorite black African feminist, they didn't like the fact that she didn't co-sign that nonsense. And she was being practical. That's probably the first time I ever agreed with Chipamanda. But then you had a situation with Lil Duval on the Breakfast Club where he said what he said. And he took flack. And I guess it's all over because the Smile Bitch song's popping. And he good. There was a time too back in the day, which the video I was gonna do was about, because Obsidian had one of those dudes on his channel that was pretending to be whatever, and he is very progressive in that issue, and whatever. But it was a situation where Tommy had beef with this chick that was calling herself a trans, but we find out she wasn't. She was just a chick that was just a loser, and wanted attention. So she identified as trans. She's really a girl who's just fat. And instead of going to the gym and working out and becoming more appealing, she decided to say she was something that she wasn't. Whatever. But in the comment section, I simply stated that, I don't care whether it's a chick pretending to be a dude, a transsexual, or a dude pretending to be a woman. To me, something's off in the head mentally. Whatever. That was years ago. But anyways, I've been wanting to discuss the dialogue, but I have been relaxed because, 90% of my flags have been around that topic, the LBGTXY military type stuff. So I was like, whatever, I tread lightly. But I do believe that this thing that Kamala Harris wants to do is a problem, being that most men that are heterosexual probably will respond the same way that Little Duval got flagged for in the Breakfast Club. He simply said that, like, don't play me, don't trick me. And this is the fuckery, the 1 + 1 is not 2 anymore, that goes on in this area we live in, where they want you to concede to the point that they're not women. I mean, that they are, when no, it's like, and you've had brothers come out the most articulate and coolest way. I might drop a clip from Carl and the one other pro-black dude that was on the Grapevine that worded it way too nice for me. Like, they were extra, PC for my taste. But even when they came with that level of compassion, if I may say, or understanding, and simply said, yo, you can do what you want to do, but don't make me change the way I use my language and my words and blah, blah, blah. And then Donovan got up in his feelings talking about some black privilege and all the black male privilege, like as if that exists. And then Donovan says, you're going to be on the wrong side of history. Like, that's the gayest. We'll pause. Okay, never mind. He is gay, so that's why he said it. But I hate when people say that. You're on the wrong side of history. Like, that means shit to me. But that happened, right? These brothers went out of their way to say, like, yo, like, you do you, but just don't include me, and yada, yada, yada. And we are at this point where they're trying to force you to say 1 + 1 is not 2 anymore. And that you have to concede to the point that these people who are not who they say they are, or are who they say they are, even though they weren't born that way, right? XXXY. You can't change that shit. I don't care how many hormones you take. But Little Duval took flat on the Breakfast Club because he said that he would kill a motherfucker that lied to him and do it. And it would be, like, this is the crazy thing. Everybody talks about own your truth, be real, say how you really feel, yada, yada, yada. But then when a man says something like that in that topic, we can't do that. And they tried to get Little Duval out of here. I don't know how in the world he recovered. Maybe because Charlamagne co-signed him and gave him the protection of whatever they be doing over there. Because, he got away with his little charge of rapaciousness. And he keep bragging about that that DNA test kit that he put off, that he gave them evidence for it. But we know damn well they didn't test that kit in South Carolina and bumfuck nowhere. They didn't test that shit. So that's his defense. But nevertheless, he gets to go on CNN, Vice, The View, all these places, ESPN, over and over again. And his alleged allegations don't seem to have hurt him, so he's protected as well. And I'm sure he gave that protection to Lil Duval because they tried to get him out of here. And Charlamagne did take some flack for that too, because he was at a speaking event and some of those dudes who pretended to be women jumped up on the thing, whatever, and protested him or whatever, and shouted him out, whatever. So now Charlamagne has conceded to the point. He gave Adrian Broner a donkey today because the one dude, I'm not gay no more, that dude who I think is ridiculous, who, lied, and he goes around saying he messed with dudes that, he didn't. Like, he said it about Cordell Stewart, he said it about Adrian Broner, and Charlamagne played that shit like the puppet he is, where he's saying, well, if a guy does that, you're supposed to just not shake it off. If you're a straight guy and a homosexual comes up to you inappropriately, just laugh it off. Like, no. You wouldn't say that about a woman who was getting harassed by a dude. We wouldn't give a man a pass who was lying about saying he slept with a woman that he didn't. Right? Even if a man did do that, he's not supposed to talk about it. It's socially unacceptable against the guy code. But for whatever reason, women can write all types of tell-alls and books, say they did what, even if they didn't do it. Women who falsely accuse men of rape don't get in trouble for that either. Although we've seen a few cases lately. But also, when homosexual men can go around, that Sydney Star dude can go around lying and saying he did this, and that. And nothing happens to these dudes that are pretending to be women lying. And they know the consequences, especially in hip-hop and music and sports, what that will do to that individual and his career if everybody's going around having those type of rumors, right? So, again, Charlamagne gave Adrian Broner Dougie today for simply saying he would do physical harm if that dude ever came up to him and touched him and stuff like that. But again, Charlamagne would not tell a dude a woman, if a guy's approaching you and he's touching on you or he's lying about this, just rub it off. Just act like it's a girl you don't like. Like, no, motherfucker, it's different. It's deeper than that. But Charlemagne is Charlemagne. You see the toys behind him in the back of his videos. That's what he is. The problem I have, though, getting back to what happened with Kamala Harris, is that she, as a prosecutor, said that in San Diego she's been working against this defense. I'm gonna call it the Little Duval defense. They call it, something else. But I think that defense is just natural. Now, here's the thing that I wanted to say, right? Absolutely, most men are telling you, like, yo, if you lie to me, and it's not, that will be my first thought, is to take your life if you lie to me, right? I'm not saying that's all these cases that these transgender people get killed, that it's because the motherfucker didn't know. We know that's not true. Some of these motherfuckers. But I will say that I think that, like you saw in that clip from ATL, the Donald Glover show, some of these dudes aren't mentally stable. I'm talking about the dudes who are messing with the trannies, right? They really are being taken advantage of. Some cases, they really are messed up in the head, whether it be they smoked some shit they shouldn't have smoked, some government put some shit in their food, or they had a sexual traumatic experience, whatever. Something a little off, a little loopy. And many a times these dudes don't want that. They get taken advantage of. Something happens on a spiritual conversation that's deeper than this. They open doors that they shouldn't open or whatever, playing with stuff they shouldn't be playing with. And they get caught up in that, right? And I'm saying, them motherfuckers are unstable. And they will kill your ass when you try to expose them or when they recognize what they just did. I remember back on, what was it, Jenny Jones, where the dude came on and told the whole world that he liked him. And the dude played it off cool and whatever and was fine with it. And he went back home and killed the dude for telling him that he liked him, right? Like, you can't play with people like that. Like, some people are just off. They rockers and they meds and they're just not right in the head. And then when you got these people that we see try to blackmail dudes and try to play them, I understand this shit. You look at the one basketball player for whatever his name, the dude that just got the last dude to get exposed for being a booty bandit. Like, that's the thing too. Like, if you want people to accept you or respect your shit and do all that other nonsense, why do you use it as a weapon? Why do you try to expose men who clearly have a situation with you going on, but they just don't want people in their business? That's their truth. They want to keep to themselves, right? But you use it as a weapon to expose them or to play them when you don't have to do that. If you truly wanted to be respected and trusted and open and this and that, you wouldn't try to expose the dudes that's on that DL. Why do you do that? Now, the situation happened with Bobby Valentino. Ain't no excuse for that. You didn't pay the motherfucker, and he snitched on you. Like, that's just the webs you played in that playground, so you got played. You got to pay the man. But I don't even know why I can't think of his name right now. But Dwight Howard, yeah, like his situation, he didn't come out, he didn't play you, he didn't disrespect you, he didn't do anything like that. And then you went public and told the world something that he probably wanted to keep to himself. Why do that if you truly want to be accepted in a greater society, right? That's just weird to me. But when you do stuff like that, I understand the consequences of that. It's not like we're co-signing it, right? Because people try to say that, well, Little Duval said Charlemagne co-signed it. Like, no. At the time, Little Duval said what I think most men feel. And this other thing, like, I was in the comment section somewhere and someone said, if you kill a guy just because he's not a guy, because he pretended to be a girl, then you're a weak man. Well, whatever. Well, all kinds of toxic ass masculinity gonna come out of me in that situation, which I won't find myself in a situation because I'm Gucci. But if it happened, I totally understand the men who do what they do in response. But again, I'm not conflating the two. Some dudes truly, generally don't know, and they being thirsty. You saw a situation with dudes on the dance floor popping it and doing it, and being thirsty and all over the dude with the assumption that it was a girl that was born that way, and it wasn't, and dude wilded out. Like, why would you play with your life like that? If you know the data and statistics on y'all dropping like flies, allegedly, right, we care, right? Why would you play with heterosexual black men that way? And you claim that we're toxic masculinity and all this other stuff. If you know, treat black men the way you think we are, right? All the negative shit that y'all say on YouTube and the Blackistan, the swirlers, and the black intellectuals and all that, and the Michael Eric Dysons and such, all that negative stuff y'all claim that black men are. Why don't you start treating us that way and treading lightly instead of putting yourself in situations where you can end up dead? If you lie to a motherfucker and you don't tell them, because that was the consensus on Grapevines, that they don't have to, they don't owe you, right? But you know that how, right? You claim that black men are the most homophobic people in the world, But you gonna come out there and play with their minds like that, and you know the reaction to what happens to them outside of that space when they're just in their everyday lives, just the assumptions. Why is somebody gonna mess with me now? Huh. But that's just my rant about that, though. I disagree with Kamala Harris. If I believe that there are men who really don't know and they do snap, right? And there's all kinds of laws on the books to protect women for snapping. And when they go off the book and they go crazy and they do stuff and they get lesser time, lesser sentences for that. But you trying to get rid of the men who, it'd be one thing if she said we're gonna prove that this was an ongoing relationship and they were back and forth or whatever, and he lying about snapping. Like he knew who he was, a he, she. Right? That's one thing if she said that. But she's like, we're going to get rid of defense completely. As if this does not happen to men. Like, you snap because you found out that the person lied to you about what they were. And that's, to me, a form of rape. That law should be on the books. You should have that option. But don't get it twisted. I'm saying that I think there are dudes out there that are emotionally unstable, mentally ill. They rockers is off, and they get confused in this mind fuckery. That 1 + 1 is 2. Like the brother on the Atlanta episode is a great example. That motherfucker was off his rocks. He was not dealing with a full deck. He really was convinced in his own mind. And when he found out, the man was like, chill. It dawned on him. And that's the type of person you see right there that end up killing his partner when he find out or when he recognizes like what it really is. So I disagree with Kamala's little future bill. If she becomes president, well, she won't. Thank God. Just a side note though, like, I've never been liberal, never thought in those terms, ever, right? More conservative, independent, libertarian when it comes to certain issues like war and intervention, although I'm not foolish enough to know that you don't become a superpower without pulling out your dick and conquering the world a little bit, right? But when I listen to the policies that these Democrats got going on, like just not even the social issues, but like everything that they're talking about and leading to, is what a lot of people ran from their countries to come here. Like, in the exception of this country, as effed up as it was, all the debauchery and fuckery and child pornography and the priests and all types of like certain things were illegal here. Like Christmas was illegal because they knew what it was. Certain holidays weren't permissible here in certain states because they knew it was a bunch of fuck shit. And it's just crazy that I don't want Democrats in power, period. Like, I just don't. Like, I'd rather deal with Republican shit than Democrat shit. Because the shit that the Democrats proposing to me is on some world decay shit. Like, just anything goes, debauchery, no structure, no nothing. Just, we gonna kill a bunch of babies, women can become men, the weakening of the military, the education system completely being taken over by a bunch of feminine fascists and fruitcakes. Like, I just don't want them to be in control of power. I'd rather have some balance where they can duke it out, you know, but I don't want Democrats in power. I just don't. Anti-gun, all that shit. Like, when you add all that up, like, y'all really want to live in that world? Like, y'all want to be in that space? I don't. Like, I just don't. But that's just my rant. I'm waiting for the videos that's going to come about this Haitian sister jumping up and defending Kamala Harris, her biracial ally. You know, how that looks and how quick. I'm looking at how this gets turned into black men ain't shit, too, because it took the brothers like literally 10 seconds to get up on stage and get the dude off the stage. Also, my man Robert Perillo, who made this point, which I disagree with him, about this is not being protected. Like, what do you want to happen differently in that situation? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it literally didn't last more than 50 seconds, and the dudes got on stage to get him off in less than 5. But let's see what happens with all that. Let's see what videos come because of that situation. Let's see if the crybaby colorists and promotion people get on stage and it's the black man's fault because some white liberal dude, which the media is not really addressing as well either, some white liberal dude goes on stage and does that, and all of a sudden, like, if it was a Trump supporter or a MAGA motherfucker, it would be a whole total different headlines all over the news. Everybody be talking about it, but since it was a white liberal tree lover, animal lover dude, he getting kind of a pass. Like, they like their future gentrifiers over there on the left. But that's in my video. I don't support this damn shit that Kamala talking about. Some motherfuckers are going to spaz out and lose it if they find out what they thought was a woman was not. I think that's just human nature for a masculine heterosexual male, regardless of race. That's just the thing. I'm not going to conflate that with the dudes. But I also think the dudes who are crazy and not dealing with a full deck, they got a defense too because they really just don't know what the fuck is going on.
And the level of hate that has resulted in acts of violence, and sometimes lethal in proportion, is not only unacceptable, but is something that we all need to be aware of in understanding that these forms of hate are very real.
Yes.
And we need to speak truth about it. And we need to understand that over the last couple of years, that hate has received new fuel that has been fanned by this administration.
Yes.
And so here's what I say. Whenever and wherever that hate displays itself, it is incumbent on all of us to stand up and speak out. And it is incumbent on all of us that whomever is the target of that hate, we must never make that person fight alone. And now I will talk about the specific issue of, in particular, what's happening with our transgender community. Years ago, when I was elected DA of San Francisco in 2003, and shortly after, we saw a series of homicides against members of the transgender community nationally. You'll remember some of them. And then there were the cases like Matthew Shepard and Gwen Rahu. And there was this thing happening in courtrooms where the killer would offer a defense. They called it the gay panic defense. Ooh. Remember that? And they would suggest to a jury that their state of mind was that basically they weren't composed at that moment. It wasn't intentional, that they panicked when they realized that the person they're with was transgender. Mm. Bogus. Mm. Bogus. Bogus. Mm. So, back when I was DA of San Francisco, knowing this was happening, and also knowing that with pride I say, we have some of the, I think, nationally and internationally best known experts and advocates and leaders in the transgender community, I decided to create a training for prosecutors around the country to come to San Francisco. I hosted it at my alma mater at Hastings College of the Law, up the street, and brought in all these prosecutors, DAs from around the country, and we created a whole curriculum to train them on how to defeat this gay panic defense. And we brought in leaders from the transgender community to talk about what their life experience was like, to talk about what had been happening, to tell stories that many of these prosecutors never heard, but to make sure that we would understand that when any prosecutor says that they represent the people, that means they represent all people, and that all people should be treated with dignity and respect, and these issues should be known. Moving forward, I would say that we have to, transgender men in the military, we have to fight against that. Mm-hmm. The fact that these men and women have sacrificed already, and others are prepared to sacrifice their life in defense of our country, and that anyone would shut the door on them is unconscionable and unpatriotic as far as I'm concerned. And then we can go on and on about, I put this issue as so many issues that deal with hate in the context also of this. The President of the United States has so many immense powers that include the power that comes with this thing. Mm-hmm. And when this thing then is in her hands,